Quest 16, Apologies to Vespiquen, Union Road, Jam Maker. On the road to the Chroma Highlands, a Vespiquen and her psychics are buzzing around out of control. Ranger, you're someone I'm glad to see. There's trouble on the road to the Chroma Highlands. A Vespiquen and her psychics are buzzing around out of control. I was out searching for berries that I need for my jams. I accidentally walked on their nest. My apologizing didn't appease them. Ranger, you can make the Vespiquen and her psychics settle down, right? Vespiquen and her psychics. I don't know why, but that makes me giggle. Exit the log cabin and fly to the Chroma Highlands. From there, head west towards the Chroma Road. Take the first turn towards the southern area where you should get a cutscene. Your character will notice Combee standing in the middle of the area where it will get startled by your presence. The Combee will flee just to come back with reinforcements accompanied by another Combee and the Queen Bee herself, Vespiquen. Capture Vespiquen and her grunts and the quest ends with the trio fleeing into the wild. By completing this quest you will now always find Vespiquen in the Chroma Road. You'll obtain the Energy Plus power up and have the quest cleared. Quest 17, Lonely Chingling, Puletown, Lady. Please help me with a request concerning our family's Chingling. Excuse me, but have you ever heard the cry of a Chingling? I thought Chinglings were Pokemon that don't cry. But I was mistaken. Our Chingling has been learned for so long that it's forgotten how to use its voice. Please, will you hear my request? I would like to introduce a wild Chingling to our Chingling as a friend. Could you please help us? It's a bell, right? Couldn't you just shake it? Actually, I'm not entirely sure if that's cruel or not. Fly to the Shiver Camp. From there, head west, then south via the higher valley where you should arrive at the back entrance of the Crystal Cave. Progress through the cave until you reach the area with the hoppable ledges. From the northern western area, hop down the ledges while staying close to the eastern wall until you reach the river. You are required to use a Pokemon with the River Flow field move. If needed, a wild Floatzel can be found nearby. Surf east towards the next area where you should find a dock that your character can land on. When landing, advance north into the cavern where you should find a Chingling waiting inside. Capture it and return back to Puletown. Talk to Lady and a cutscene will commence with the wild Chingling interacting with the Lady's Chingling. The quest ends with the Lady's Chingling remembering its species cry. You'll obtain the Dragon Defense power up and have the quest cleared. Quest 18, Abomasnow's Research. Shiver Camp, Herbert. May I enlist your help yet again with our research undertakings. Please note, you are required to complete Quest 9 to gain access to this quest. It's so cold. Oh, you're that ranger from before. It's me, Herbert. You found a knowledge for me in Puletown. I'm out here in the higher valley on another research mission. Professor Hastings wants me to study another grass Pokemon, Abomasnow. But I'm not dressed for this climate. I'm freezing in these light clothes. Ranger, may I enlist your help again? May I ask you to bring an Abomasnow to me here? Sure, ignoring the Abomasnow standing right next to me. It doesn't exist. You are required to use a Pokemon with the level 3 Tackle field move. If needed, several Piloswines can be found throughout the higher valley. From the higher valley, head north towards the Ice Lake. You are required to use a Pokemon with the level 2 River Flow field move. If needed, an Empoleon can be found nearby. Head to the dock and use Empoleon's field move to surf on the water and crush incoming icebergs. I have recorded the directions needed to reach the area where Abomasnow resides. Hopefully these directions are clear enough to prevent any confusion. If you follow the video correctly, then you should find a dock where your character can land on. Once landed, advance north towards the next area where you should find a clunk of solid snow. Use a Pokemon with the level 3 tackle field move to awaken Abomasnow from its slumber, capture it, and return back to the Shiver camp. Talk to Herbert and he will thank you for retrieving Abomasnow. The quest ends with him taking Abomasnow and walking away into the distance. You'll obtain the Fighting Defense power-up and have the quest cleared. Quest 19. Melt the Ice, Shiver Camp, Pamir. I lack something done with a hunk of ice that tumbled down in the Crystal Cave. There's something I like to ask of you as a ranger. Since I'm pressing the A button too quickly, I'll summarize what he said. Essentially, ice pillars have fallen from the roof and apparently it seems to be taking too much space. Your job is to go into the Crystal Cave and clear the clunks of ice. There are 3 blocks of ice now. Can you do something about them? Honestly, I think you could just walk around the chunks of ice, but whatever. Exit the house and head west, then south, via the higher valley to reach the back entrance of the Crystal Cave. You are required to use a Pokemon with level 2 Burn Field move. If needed, you may find Cameroth by heading to the southern area of the Crystal Cave near a dock. Though I didn't record this, I recommend you fly to the Chroma Highlands and capture 3 Rapidashes that also have the Burn Field move to melt the pillar of ice as a faster option. The ice blocks are rather easy to find and you should find them just by progressing through the cave. Use the level 2 Burn Field move to melt the 3 pillars. Once done, return back to the Shiver camp. Talk to Palmer and the quest pretty much ends with him thanking you. You'll obtain the Water Defense power-up and have the quest cleared. Quest 20. Drifblim's Moving Service, Puletown, Old Man. Dear Ranger, please bring me some Drifblims. I have a good reason. I can't believe it. How could I make this mistake? All the times I've moved, I've always had a Drifblim help me. I've gotten them to do all the heavy lifting and moving, but this time I forgot about asking them. How absent-minded of me. Saying you're absent-minded doesn't help us any. Please, could you return with some Drifblim? To be fair, it does become harder to remember things the older one gets, so I don't blame you for that. You will need to capture 3 Drifblims that are scattered across the Almia region. The first one can be found in the Chroma Ruins. Fly to the Chroma Ruins via the Chroma Highlands and enter the ruin. Once you have entered the ruin, you should find a Drifblim in the southern western area of that room. The second one can be found in the Volcano Cave. Fly to Boyleland and enter the Volcano Cave via the eastern entrance. Upon entering, there will be a turtle waiting. Capture it to use the Magma Flow field move to walk through the lava. Loop through the lava by taking the northern western route to exit the eastern area and enter the western side of the Volcano Cave. You'll know you went the right way if the audio track changes. Head south towards the next area where you should find some land. Upon landing, take the eastern route to enter the eastern side again where you should find the second Drifblim. The final Drifblim can be found inside the Hippowdon Temple. Fly towards the Hippowdon Temple via the Haruba Desert and enter the temple. Just naturally progress through the Hippowdon Temple and you should eventually find the final Drifblim. Once all 3 Drifblims have been captured, then return back to Puletown. In all honesty, this cutscene is rather ridiculous. The Drifblims gather above the old couple and carry them away into the distance, ending the quest. Not sure what that's all about. You will obtain the Power Line power-up and have the quest cleared. Hey guys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching till the end of the video. Greatly appreciate it. So, I honestly thought I did this Endslate, but it turned out I didn't, so I guess I'm doing it now. Excuse those chickens in the backgrounds. Love the birds. Alright, so I have no idea what I did in this video because it was so long ago since I've edited it. I don't know, I guess I can give you an update. I currently have recorded up to part 30. I've done the Endslate for part 21 to 25, which is nice. 26 to 30 is working on, and I'll get started on 31 to 35 sometime in the future. Not when these idiots are talking. Oh god, that's not the best time to narrate. Well yeah, I guess I lied in the last Endslate, which is the future one, which wouldn't be uploaded yet. But this would be my Blue Yeti debut on the Ranger series, but I didn't know that. As I said, I didn't know I narrated this. Anyway, so on the left here, we are going to... Oh, Endslate is Blue Yeti, not the actual video. The actual video is still the Samson video. Anyway, on the left here will be the previous video, quest 11 to 15, and on the right will be the future video, which will be quest 21 to 25. So which one helps you, just go to that one. If you want the quests list, I don't know. Maybe I should provide that. Thoughts for a later time. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. So till then, see ya.